Welcome to the show both feared and revered by man and beast, the heliosblog. Today, Donovan Sharpe explains, how do women lie about cheating? Here we go.
The reason she's alone is because she's difficult.
Women are not accepting the bare minimum.
Women fuck men they respect.
All the women who say things like, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, like, y'all impress me.
Women just gaslight each other and say what they want to hear.
Michaela Peterson, this one's for you.
Today, I'm going to talk about something that females are almost too good at, and that is lying. Because the average woman has a much higher social aptitude and is much more perceptive than the average man, they're far more adept at social manipulation. They're very good at misleading and lying to people. Women lie to everyone, guys. They lie to their family,
Family, friends, especially themselves.
their friends, their coworkers, their bosses, their children, and even themselves. But the vast majority of a woman's lies are reserved for their husbands and boyfriends. Now, females lie to their husbands and boyfriends for a few reasons. They lie about their notch counts to make themselves look less promiscuous than they
Yep, that's right.
really are. They lie about how their last relationship ended to absolve themselves of any and all responsibility.
Yep, that's right. And by the way, guys, to them, BJs don't count, kisses don't count.
Which really means they cheated their way out of the relationship. The list goes on and on. But the main reason females lie to their boyfriends and husbands is to cover up cheating. Yes, there are many different lies, many different reasons for those lies, and many different times they lie. But the number one reason women lie to their significant others is to cover up infidelity. Unfortunately, most men out here lack even a basic understanding in terms of knowing when they're being lied to by a woman. They think they know when their women are lying to them because maybe she stutters or she looks away when speaking to him. And while these could be signs she's being dishonest, it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface.
No. Don't watch their words, watch their actions. Again, guys, love is respect.
Because females are expert liars and professional cheaters. You think she doesn't know that stuttering and looking away gives her away as a liar? Here's a better question. You think she doesn't do these things on purpose to make you think she's lying? Let that sit for a while. Understand this, gentlemen. Women are always 4 steps ahead. They've been lying and cheating about lying and cheating since they figured out that men want to sleep with them. And that starts as early as 14, 15 years old, and sometimes even younger than that. My ex-girlfriend, Amy, is a great example, having had her first child at 13. I met her
No frickin' way.
6 years later, but I didn't run for the hills when I found out she had a 6-year-old kid at just 19. Admittedly, that one was on me. Anyway, so now a man asks himself,
No. That's a no for me, champ.
well, how can I get better at recognizing when a woman is being dishonest with me? How can I become more proficient at spotting lies? Well, the first thing I'll tell you is that it takes a lot of time and a lot of experience to be able to know when a woman is lying to you. The reason I'm great at spotting dishonesty is because I've been lied to by a lot of women in a lot of ways over the years. Experience, as they say, is the best teacher. Lying is no different. But to shorten your learning curve, there are a few steps you can take. And the biggest step you can take is to pay attention from the beginning. What I mean by this is pay attention to her mannerisms, her body language, her voice inflections, and her verbal cadence from your very first interaction with her. Watch her eyes, her mouth, and her micro expressions when she's talking to you. You need to pay attention to all of these things when you know she's being honest with you. Now, these are going to be things that seem inconsequential, things she doesn't have to lie about. For example, when she says, I really like this appletini, pay attention. When she talks about what kind of shampoo she uses because you said her hair smelled interesting, pay attention. When you ask her about her family and friends, pay attention. Now, the reason this is so important is because this gives you what FBI interrogators call a baseline.
Right. It's, yeah. It's not actually about their body language. It's about their change in body language relative to the norm. Agreed.
When she answers questions she has no need to lie about, her voice inflections, her cadence, her body language, and her facial expressions give you that important baseline. You know what she looks, sounds, and moves like when she's telling the truth. This is why FBI interrogators ask basic questions in the beginning of a lie detector test. They ask you questions like, what's your name? Where were you born? What are your siblings' name? And so forth. This way, when they administer the questions they really want the answers to, they are more likely to detect inconsistencies in your voice inflections, your body language, and your tone. They go one step further and hook you up to a machine that tracks your pulse and your vital signs. Then they compare all of this information to your baseline, which they established in the beginning when asking questions they know you'll tell the truth about. Now, obviously, you're not going to hook a woman up to an EKG machine or a heart monitor, but you can do the next best thing, which is to pay attention from the beginning. Most men today are so caught up in the bedroom fun and the emotion and all of those dopamine hits that comes with the newness of a relationship that they sleepwalk through the first few weeks and miss that critical baseline information that can be used later on when she tries to be honest with you. Guys always ask themselves the same thing when they find out their woman's been running around on them. How did I not see she was lying to me? How could I miss this? There are many answers to this question, but the number one reason is that he didn't pay attention and establish a baseline from his very first interaction with her. While this first step is important, it's only the beginning. You have to be able to use this information later on when and if she ever tries to lie to you. And there are many ways to pick up on these things rather easily, provided you've done what's necessary to prepare yourself. Now, I'm not going to go over every single solitary sign your woman is lying to you because we'd be here till Womanese Volume 3 drops. But I am going to give you 7 extremely deceptive ways to tell your girlfriend or wife is lying to you, specifically about potential infidelity, which encompasses everything from her whereabouts.
Yeah, they'll lie about where they were or what they were doing, trickle truthing, you know, where they give you like little information or they don't tell you the whole story, and so on.
To who she's with, to what she's doing. Okay, so let's get started here. 7 deceptive ways women lie and how to spot them. Number 1, her stories sound rehearsed. This is where paying attention and establishing that baseline I talked about earlier comes in handy. If you ask her how her day was and she says something like, "Work was same old, Kevin in the sales department got on my nerves, but he got off early, so I didn't have to deal with him anymore. I went to lunch with Carol and I had a Cobb salad. She had a chicken quesadilla with sour cream on the side."
Oh, it's too much information. It's not erotic, erratic, or rambly enough to be a true girl's story.
And a Coke with lime in it. The traffic sucked, but I listened to the Girls Today podcast for about 48 minutes, so that helped pass the time, and now I'm here with you.
She's establishing an alibi.
Well, hot stuff. Now, if this is the way she usually describes her day, cool. There are some women out there that give you every single detail every single time, but most women don't give this much detail. And if this is out of the ordinary, and let's be honest, it is, it's because she rehearsed it, meaning that's not how her day went. A good way to find out for sure is to ask her again later on, and if she uses the exact same wording, meaning she tells you about the Cobb salad, the chicken quesadilla with sour cream, and Kevin in sales getting off work early, they were definitely rehearsed. Well, wait a minute, Donovan. If she gives you the exact same details, wouldn't that mean she's telling the truth? Absolutely not. And here's why. If
Wouldn't remember if it doesn't matter.
you ask someone the same question 2 different times, they'll give you the same answer, but they never use the same words or details verbatim. Women always tell on themselves when they give you exactly the same story verbatim. But most guys don't realize she's lying because he thinks, okay, she gave me the exact same story, so she must be telling me the truth. Another way to know if she's rehearsed her lines is if her enunciations and voice cadence are different from what they normally are in her baseline. Again, guys, this is where paying attention comes into play. Number 2, she repeats what she says to emphasize the lie. Let me give you a quick scenario here. Let's say you ask your girl, "Did you and Lisa have fun at the mall?" And let's say she answers, "Yeah, we definitely did. We went to Forever 21 and spent way too much money, but it was totally worth it. We ate at this Chinese place in the food court and ended up at Macy's. We spent so much money at Forever 21, but it was so worth it. We were there for so long, we had to get out of there before we spent our entire paychecks." In this example, your girl wants you to believe that the reason she took so long is because her and Lisa spent a lot of time at Forever 21. The reason she wants to drive this point home is to...
Well, again, all it would take is seeing how much is bought to know that that's a lie, right?
reassure you that she wasn't getting plowed by Dave, the unemployed garage band guitar player, who may or may not have an illegitimate kid with his ex-girlfriend's mother, so she mentions it multiple times thinking that repeating it over and over will convince you it's true. If she repeats something in her story at least once, she's definitely covering something up. And by something, I mean getting pounded out by Dave. Number 3, she quote-unquote hates someone so much. Let's go back to that first example when your girlfriend told you
The opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is indifference. If she hates someone, it means that
Kevin was getting on her nerves. The reason she does this is to throw you off the scent. She wants you to think, man, she really hates that a-hole Kevin, so you will have no idea that she wants to sleep with him or is sleeping with him. Gentlemen, you need to listen very carefully when your woman talks about a man she can't stand. I can't stand Justin at the coffee shop. Tommy is such an a-hole. This creepy guy at my job looks like a pervert. These are the musings of a female with wet panties, and she's trying to convince you there's no way she'd ever do anything with these guys. But the more a woman talks about how much she doesn't want to hook up with him, the more she indeed wants to hook up with him. He's too short. He's married. He's ugly. Guys, none of that matters. She thinks enough of this guy to mention him to you multiple times. Besides, how does she know Kevin left work early if he's in another department? Which leads me to number 4. She gets irritated when you quiz her on the details. So let's say you ask your girl, well, how do you know Kevin left early? And she responds with, that's a silly question. We work at the same company. Then you follow up with, yeah, but he works in the sales department and you work in accounting. That's on the other side of the building. If she gets irritated and responds with something like, Donovan, we work for the same company. Everybody knows when everybody gets off. Then she is definitely hiding something.
Yup. Sounds like police stuff, but I can't argue with that.
If she gets pissed off, upset, or irritated when you ask for more information, she is 745% lying about something, at which point you need to quiz her hard for more information. And I'll tell you a quick personal story. I was dating this beautiful Ukrainian girl when I lived in Vegas. Her name was Tatiana. She had a long platinum blonde hair and the most gorgeous steely light blue eyes I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, we dated for a little over 6 months, and one evening I video called her because that's what we always did when we didn't spend the night with each other. Well, this one particular night, it took her a little longer than it should have for her to answer. And when she did, she was on her balcony, somewhere she had never answered a video call from me before. What's more is that
She was with Chad.
she was just closing her back door to her balcony when she picked up. So that told me she did not want to take the call inside. I immediately got suspicious and asked her why she took the call from her balcony. She told me because she wanted to smoke a cigarette. Now, even though she smoked like a chimney, I didn't believe her. So I told her to put the cigarette out and go back inside to talk to me. She said, "You're starting to irritate me." I said, "I don't care. Put out the cigarette and go back inside." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I think you've got someone in your apartment and you don't want him to know you're talking to me." She said, "Don't be ridiculous. There's no one in my apartment." So I said, "Prove it." So she angrily puts out her cigarette and went back into her apartment, but just inside the back door. I said, "Tell me you love me." She said quietly, "I love you." I paused for a minute because I didn't expect her to actually say it. It didn't hit me that she had whispered it yet. So she took that opportunity to say with an attitude, "What?" As if to imply that she had just proved her innocence. I said, "Walk into your living room and say it louder." She hung up and blocked my number. Long story short, I thought I was her boyfriend, but the entire time,
He was the side guy. Amazing.
I was the side dude. She was cheating on her boyfriend with me for more than 6 months. The point
Disaster.
is that she started to get irritated when I quizzed her on the details and pressed her on her to prove she wasn't lying, which is always a telltale sign she's up to no good. Number 5, her alibi is too specific. This is what happens when your suspicions are too high not to remain silent. You don't want to be the guy who's asking your woman, "Where were you? Who were you with? And what were you doing?" Now, if you vetted and trained her properly, you'll never have to do this. But because almost 0 men vet and train properly, the urge to ask this question will hit them at some point. Now, when she's been sleeping with Dave, the unemployed garage band guitar player who may or may not have done amateur adult films, she'll know you're going to quiz her on her whereabouts because she had her phone off for the last 3 hours. She's already got her cover story memorized, and when she tells you, she'll be extremely detailed in her explanation.
Which means that you can catch her in the act. Which means that the training, that's the actual point of the training.
So when you ask her, "Where the hell have you been?" she'll respond with, "Well, I left here at 3. I got to Lisa's at like 3:15. From there, we went to the mall and went to Forever 21. We spent 2 hours there. Then we got hungry and ate at Panda Express at the food court till
No frickin' way she knew her time so well.
like 5:30. After that, we went to Macy's and spent a half an hour there. I dropped her off at 6:15, and now I'm here. That's a BS alibi, guys. That detail, the timeline, the exact times, all that is a dead giveaway that she's lying. Girls will also try to overcompensate by giving very little detail so their alibi sounds more believable. Unless she's BPD or Dark Triad, her cover story will either have too much or too little information. Like I said, you never have to memorize the truth. So if your girl's alibi is too detailed or not detailed enough, she is definitely lying. Number 6. She makes too much eye contact when telling her story. Before my girlfriend started working for me, I used to ask her how her day was when she got home from the office. And when she told me, she rarely made eye contact with me because we were both doing other things. She's making dinner and is back and forth between the kitchen and the dining room, and I'd be on the couch playing Candy Crush trying to decompress after being on the air. This was our normal routine. When you and your girl are having standard conversations like, "How was your day?" there is little to no eye contact being made. But when she makes too much eye contact, she's trying to gauge a reaction to see if you're buying her story. So when she tells you the story about Kevin getting on her nerves and the Cobb salad with Carol and all the rest of that, and doesn't break eye contact, that is a major sign she's lying. Most girls give themselves away even more by maintaining eye contact to make sure you buy the story. The best way to handle this...
Oh, so she looks nervous. I see.
...is to make expressions that make her think you don't believe her. Things like furrowing your brow or crossing your arms will make her nervous. When you do this, she'll get louder, more descriptive, and more panicky. She'll try harder and harder to convince you she's telling the truth. And when that happens, it becomes obvious to the both of you that she is not. Number 7, she uses honesty words. For example, honestly, or to be perfectly honest, or trust me. So your girl is making too much eye contact, your face gives her the impression that you're not buying her story about Carol and her quesadilla, and she starts to panic. Well, she's not going to break script and say, "Don't you believe me?" Oh no. Instead, she'll involuntarily start using honesty words. So let's go through this again. So you ask her, "How was your day?" And she immediately locks eyes with you and starts her story. "Work was same old, same old. Kevin got on my nerves, but he got off early so I didn't have to deal with him." Now, being aware of who and what Kevin is and how girls try to badmouth guys they really want to sleep with to give you the impression that he's not a threat, you furrow your brow and cross your arms. So now she starts to panic a little and continues. "Trust me, I was so glad he left early. Anyway, I went to lunch with Carol, and honestly, I wanted to get a burger, but I went with the salad so I could stay thin for you. Carol got a chicken quesadilla with sour cream and a Coke, and to be perfectly honest with you, I told her she needs to watch her diet if she wants to keep her
Right, she keeps throwing. I understand.
boyfriend."
It's funny because I'm hearing this, and knock on wood, I've never heard these sort of red flags before from my girl, or girls in general. Usually, okay, so this has happened before. Girl I was with had lots of male friends, and I could just never trust her, right? Because I knew that she was an attention seeker type person. And so she wasn't deserving of a relationship, right? Again, that's the idea of scouting from the beginning, right? And when you have that frame of, well, I know what kind of girl you are, so this is what you get. You never suffer having to listen to this crap.
Music, television shows, magazines, articles, videos. All of these mediums tell women that getting married young is demeaning and oppressive.
Yep.
Women like Amy Horton also bought into this lie. She wanted to live the bachelor life, meet the man of her dreams in her 30s, have a family, and
stick the landing,
live happily ever after, all while keeping everyone updated about the hookups and drama she's always involved in.
Freaking disaster. Okay, here are the 2 titles I gotta tell you. Moving to a new city changed my entire perspective on dating apps. Oh, man. Okay, tell me you're a garden tool without telling me you're a garden tool. My emotionally A-word ex left me with PTSD, and I'm struggling to cope. Again, tell me you're a garden tool without telling me you're a garden tool.
But then reality hit. And now, at nearly 40 years old, Miss Horton is confused as to why she can't find a man. This is not the way she planned it. Scores of high-quality men are supposed to be chasing her, courting her, offering their hand in marriage. There's just one small problem. Men aren't following the script. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not committing to a woman who's hooked up with dozens of guys, who's finally realized her worth and now regrets the many mistakes she made.
All right, so here's the title of the article, just, for those of you listening on the podcast. Why are so many professional millennial women, unable to find dateable men? My millennial-aged girlfriends and I never doubted that we would accomplish all of our life goals. Everything thus far has pretty much gone according to our plans. We were accepted into the right college, landed the dream job, and developed a network of amazing friends. Our apartments are beautifully decorated, and we have closets full of stylish clothing. Yeah, this is BS.
With the many men in her past. Amy Horton's about to have a rude awakening, and it is not going to be pretty. What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and I help men just like you become the very best versions of themselves by giving them the raw and honest truth about women. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. You can also sign up for text notifications when I go live, make announcements, offer discounts on courses, and much more. Just text TSR to I hate this new dating world I live in, she says. I want nothing more than to destroy all dating apps and the awful way they've ruined actual interaction.
10,000 matches? Wow.
When she says things would deteriorate, she's actually talking about herself. Now, she certainly doesn't realize she's talking about herself because surely she's every bit as attractive now at 38 as she was at 18.
Yeah, girls always say this. Oh, I'll be more attractive at 28 than at 18. I'll be more attractive at 38, more attractive at 48. They don't realize you can't keep peeling that tape off the wall 400 times.
So the fact that she doesn't have as many options has nothing to do with her deterioration. Oh no, it's the dating market that's deteriorated.
Indeed.
Even though the wall comes fast for women and their attraction drops precipitously, they are always the very last to know or
That's Lindsay Lohan, by the way.
acknowledge that they have indeed hit the wall. Amy Horton has
I don't know who this is, but she's I know this lady. You guys tell me in the comments. I don't remember who it is, but she's had really bad plastic surgery.
no idea that Father Time is now collecting his debt for
Hi, we understand you're 40 and still not married, and it's a million cats.
having given her
Opening the door.
absolute power over men for the better part of a decade. And she won't figure this out until a guy tells
Women are more miserable than men until their mid-80s, when they're widowed and begin enjoying retirement. That's hilarious. Women grow happier after retiring and overtake men at 85. 28% of women aged 16 to 24 have a probable mental disorder. Indeed. This is almost twice as many as men in the same age bracket, the study found. Only 14% of women suffer mental illnesses
her,
issues
"I've
at
never
85
dated
plus.
an older woman before." That is when it's going to hit her like a ton of bricks, and that will be a rude awakening. So she's saying that because of the deterioration of the dating market, there aren't as many good guys out there. But what she fails to realize is that there aren't as many good guys available to her. And her
Right.
blindness to her own decline in value makes her think that there aren't as many good guys around.
Yeah, that's solipsism, right? She assumes everything is from her perspective, right? So she assumes if men are not attracted to her, men are disappearing. No, they're disappearing for you.
This statement literally says, "Where have all the good men gone?"
Yep.
Which, of course, is the calling.
I don't cook, I don't clean, I don't want kids, I don't date under 6 feet. Sometimes I message my ex and I prefer rich, hot guys. 10 years later, we're all the good men. Indeed.
Card of a woman who's been passed around for an extended period of time. She says that Tinder has diminished good old-fashioned romance and that she hates this new dating world, which is actually kind of funny because she is actually on Tinder and has been for a while. Women cannot expect good old-fashioned romance if they're on dating apps. Ladies, if you want old-fashioned romance, then delete all of your apps and make yourself more approachable in the real world.
Yep. And don't use social media at all. No Instagram, no Snapchat, and so on.
You know, being kind instead of irritable, looking men in the eye instead of looking at your phone, dressing like a feminine woman instead of a 17-year-old hipster computer hacker. Girls are always confused.
Yeah, Elizabeth Salander, anyone?
As to why men don't approach as much as they used to. Well, the three main reasons are A, the West has literally criminalized approaching women in public by making catcalling and striking up conversation against the law in some areas. B,
Yeah,
they're not
that's
approachable.
crazy.
And C, girls are online giving away their bodies like it's Halloween candy. Why?
Indeed. What happened to good old-fashioned flirting? This is from the Washington Post. Here's a proposition for you. Bring back By the way, this article was in 2000. June 19, 2000. It's 24 years after now. Flirting, the delicious art of saying nothing and everything is disappearing. Dinner parties are filled with earnest conversation. Compliments are left unsaid. That sexy little undercurrent that used to charge a great party has been replaced by the dull drone of political correctness. A New Yorker attending a small dinner in Washington sat through an evening at A-list chatter, then reported to a friend, "Not one man flirted all night." What a sad state of affairs. Flirting is a grace note in life, a charming social skill that every grown-up should know how to do properly. Except, it's 2024, we can't do that.
Why in the world would men risk embarrassment, humiliation, and possible criminal prosecution just to strike up conversation with girls who look like men and act like they have no interest in men when they can bypass all that nonsense by simply opening their phones? Tinder didn't ruin face-to-face interactions, Miss Horton. Women did. Tinder is simply the digital manifestation of the...
Young women have more bedroom fun partners than men. Young women are more promiscuous than men, according to a survey that claims the average 21-year-old has had 9 bedroom fun partners compared with 7 for men. This is in 2008, by the way. That's... What a freaking mess. 9 is already too many. That's average. Imagine that. 2024, average is 50.
Romantic female transformation.
How to make how to make men not want to have kids. Increase all the interest rate and make all the women look like the girl on the right.
Girls don't want guys to approach them in public. They don't want to make an effort to look feminine and presentable in public, and they don't want to publicly display their interest in men. So Tinder was created to satisfy these objectives, and predictably, women are complaining about it, especially the older women who are not getting as much attention as they used to.
Indeed. No comment on this this picture here. Let's end the video there. Hit the like, hit the sub, hit on for notifications. Buy my books like Hunter M, Adrian R. Tom, and Bobby, Dylan, Renaissance Press, Brian, Andrew, Alan, Armani, and Nicholas. Shoutouts to you. Most recent purchase of both my books, Strategist Guide to Seduction and Quotes to Live By. Thank you. You can find my books at bit.ly/heliosbooks. If you'd like coaching, like Nick, that's great. Just message me at my email. It's theheliosblog@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, guys, especially if you listen to the end. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.